Garnacho has given Chelsea fans depression.
Garnacho, I'm giving you a 10 out of 100. You are a god-awful winger.
49. I'm not calling him Garnacho anymore. I'm calling him Subject 49. That's a good one.
When I tell you how much I hate this person, I'm not even factoring in how bad he is at football. My mum be watching this. She goes, Rory, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say you hate anyone. You don't have time in your life to hate. And I'm like, no, Mum, I do. I do have time to hate. Do you know why I've got time to hate? I find the time. And do you know who I hate? Alejandro Garnacho.
Chelsea paid £40 million for a 21-year-old who can't even beat his fullback.
Garnacho, though? Garnacho's not in that class of player. I'm sorry.
Any excitement that was there when he showed some flashes under Maresca is fully gone.
Too many times he picks the wrong pass or makes the wrong decision. And again, I don't like the way he plays the game.
People expected a young winger who could just make things happen. Instead, he plays like a Make-A-Wish kid that you threw onto a charity game just so he can score. His stats have sucked, and he's even worse off the eye test.
I can give you a good suggestion in how we can reduce crime rates. Get criminals watching Garnacho go one-on-one. I promise you, crime rates go down.
A lot of his goal contributions this season have come in cup games against weaker teams, farming numbers against the worst team in the Champions League, and lower tier English clubs in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. I guess you can say that Garnacho found his level. When you look at his Premier League games, he's barely made an impact. Against top defenders or even mid defenders, he's shut down pretty easily.
There is no danger from Garnacho. If you don't take on a defender on the outside, that means that you have fear. And a winger with fear will never beat his opponent.
His overall game hasn't improved at all. It's actually been the complete opposite. He's regressed. His dribbling is even less effective than before. He loses the ball a lot and was never able to earn a consistent starting spot.
To me, he's the type of player that comes on 75, 80 minutes when everybody's knackered.
But for a starter?
At Chelsea anyway, as a starter, no.
Under Maresca and then later Liam Rossinier, the wingers were expected to track back, combine with their teammates in tight spaces, and be part of the bigger shape. That's where Garnacho struggled. That's actually sad when you think about it. They weren't expecting that much from him, just the bare minimum for a Premier League winger, and he still couldn't achieve that. In games against any organized team, he often looks disconnected from the rest of the squad. He stays wide, he doesn't link up the play at all, and tries to do everything on his own. Instead of passing or keeping the move going, he just goes for these low percentage dribbles or shot.
And he's the type of guy, just by the way he plays the game and his demeanour, makes everybody who's against him want to make sure he doesn't do right.
Because of that, every single manager he's had at Chelsea had enough. He was consistently subbed out during halftime or just not played at all because they had no faith in him. He doesn't fit the system, he's not producing, and the confidence around him is completely gone.
Is Garnacho worthy of the Chelsea shirt, Steve?
I'm not a fan of Garnacho.
I mean, just look at how everything fell apart for him when Chelsea played Manchester United in April of 2026. This was supposed to be his big statement game against his former club at Stamford Bridge under the bright lights, an opportunity to prove everybody wrong. Instead, he collapsed like a bed when Lizzo sits on it.
Yo, that one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it.
He came on early in the 16th minute after Estevao got injured, so he had plenty of time to make an impact. But he didn't. In the entire first half, he didn't register a single shot, didn't create a chance, and didn't even complete one successful take-on. Not one. Brother was just doing cardio. Then defensively, it got worse. Chelsea conceded because he barely tried to track back, and Bruno just went past him with ease before setting up Cunha for the winner. Very symbolic that the guy United replaced him with ended up scoring the goal. I swear to God, football is scripted. By the end of the game, Garnacho had lost the ball 15 times in just over 70 minutes and was completely shut down.
Garnacho, I watched a lot of football over my 60-odd years of watching football, and even longer. That was one of the worst performances by a professional footballer I have ever seen in my life. He was indescribably terrible.
Garnacho sees himself as a star player, but those around him would disagree. To them, he's someone who isn't doing the hard work, isn't helping the team, and is hurting them way more than he's helping. Add in the fact that Chelsea fans don't have a lot of patience right now, and Garnacho has become the main target for their frustration. A lot of supporters see him as the worst signing the club has made in years, and that's saying something because in the last few years under Clearlake, they have made a lot of bad signings. They feel like he gives up too easily when things aren't going his way. When Chelsea are losing, he doesn't look like someone who wants to fight and turn the game around. Defensively, I mean, it's a disaster. There's been moments where he just doesn't track his man, and it's directly led to goals. Then there's the attitude problem. He carries himself like a superstar without actually performing like one.
Garnacho, he really likes himself, rates himself as a player, but he's absolutely not putting in the performances.
He thinks he's Cristiano Ronaldo, but he's actually closer to Ronaldo's son than he is to the actual CR7. On top of that, his game is so predictable. Defenders know exactly what he's gonna do, and it makes it that much easier to stop him. His social media activity hasn't helped. After getting benched against Manchester City, he removed Chelsea-related posts from his profile.
See, nobody cares.
You got a grown-ass man still acting like a teenager. Garnacho is like those kids that you had in your class, I'm sure you guys will remember. They would make a post on social media saying that they're gonna take a break from social media. Brother, nobody cares. And that's the bigger issue. Chelsea have been struggling, losing so many of their games, and fans are looking for players who show fight and commitment. Yet Garnacho, he's the complete opposite of that. While Chelsea fans are frustrated, Manchester United fans are giggling and enjoying life. They're laughing at the Chelsea fans who genuinely thought that the blonde Michael Jackson was gonna save their club. They're laughing because Chelsea fans are experiencing the same issues that were already there during Garnacho's time at Manchester United.
No way! Who was it? Who was it? Go on, tell me who it was. Garnacho.
His time at Manchester United really started to fall apart under Ruben Amorim. When Amorim came in around November of 2024, he brought a very strict system that didn't compromise on discipline. He wanted to play a 3-4-2-1, which isn't easy for wingers like Garnacho. In that setup, the wide players were either left forward / right forwards, so they were essentially central number 10s attacking midfielders that played off the striker, or you were a wing back. Both roles required a high defensive work rate and an ability to make things happen in tight areas. Essentially, both roles did not match Garnacho's skill set. He's the type of winger who wants to stay wide, take players on, and go straight at goal. So from the beginning, it just didn't look like a good fit. But the real problem wasn't just tactics, it was Garnacho's attitude. And there were a few moments that really broke the relationship between him and the Portuguese manager. One of them came in the Europa League game against Victoria Pilsen. Amorim tried to give him instructions before sending him on, and Garnacho basically ignored him and walked away. That didn't go down well at all, and he ended up getting dropped for the Manchester derby right after.
But for me it's important the performance in training, the performance in game, the way you dress, the way you eat, the way you engage with the teammates, the way you push your teammates. Everything is important in our context in the beginning of something when we want to change a lot of things, when people in our club are losing their jobs. We have to put the standards really high.
Then there was the Ipswich game. Garnacho got subbed off at halftime because of a tactical change, and instead of sitting on the bench, he walked straight down the tunnel, copying his idol. He later apologized and even paid for a team dinner, but by then, the damage was already done. The final breaking point came in the Europa League final against Tottenham. Garnacho came on late in the game, and after the match he went to the media and complained about his role. On top of that, his brother publicly criticized Amorim, saying the manager had thrown him under the bus. Garnacho definitely doesn't have the best support system around him, let's just say that. Then there were also reports that Garnacho was leaking the lineups throughout the season. So at that point, the relationship between him, Amorim, and the club was finished. From Amorim's perspective, Garnacho wasn't just a player that didn't fit in the tactical setup. He was somebody with a bad attitude, somebody who refused to adapt and who didn't respect the structure. And once a manager sees you like that, it's almost impossible to come back from it. Amorim had made up his mind on Garnacho. He saw him as a bad influence in the squad, someone who didn't fit the culture he was trying to build. So instead of trying to work things out with him, he pushed for a clean break.
So you're very close with Alejandro. Are you hopeful that he could end up staying at the club, or do you not know?
That's when Garnacho ended up in what people called the bomb squad. This was basically a group of players the club wanted gone. It included big names like Marcus Rashford, Anthony, and Jadon Sancho. These players were completely separated from the main team. They trained on their own and were even told to come in later in the day after the first team had already left. What's quite interesting is how the rest of the squad reacted. Reports suggested that many players were actually happy those guys weren't around, especially when they were left out of the preseason tour in the US. For years, United had been dealing with mess after mess off the pitch, dealing with poor characters in the locker room, and Garnacho was the embodiment of that. Somebody who had a very high ego, but not enough talent to match that attitude. So when Chelsea came in and paid £40 million for him, people at United were not upset. If anything, it felt like a win for them. They got rid of a player they didn't want anymore, and they got good money for him. Goodbye, Agent 49. Nicky Butt, for once, actually made a good point when it came to Garnacho. He basically said that Garnacho's attitude problems could be seen early on in his career.
But he got superstar status so quickly, and obviously scored the bicycle kick, which was a phenomenal goal, and then it went like that. Someone within that football club, within that team, should have been swatting him down. They might have been, and he might have just ignored him. Forget his ability, I don't think he's that great anyway. However, his attitude for me was a disgrace when he was at Man United.
In his view, Garnacho was treated like a superstar way too quickly, and it got to his head. He started acting like a top player, like he was Ronaldo's regen, before actually proving it consistently on the pitch. Young players today can blow up so fast, with social media, short highlights, and everybody hyping you up. The problem becomes when that hype doesn't actually match the player's abilities. Garnacho thought too highly of himself, reportedly didn't take feedback well, and struggled to accept coaching.
Garnacho, you gotta pass better today, yeah, please. Pass better today, score a goal, and work on your first touch as well, yeah?
Garnacho. Why are you not playing?
That naturally led to problems with managers over time. A lot of United fans saw this coming too. They warned Chelsea fans that Garnacho's big moments, like that overhead kick against Everton, were highlights and not the full picture. For every moment like that, there were many games where he was inconsistent, selfish, or just not effective. They also pointed out a pattern. When things get tough, Garnacho never responds in a positive way. He doesn't stand up. He either fades away or lashes out. Chelsea fans didn't really listen at the time. The price looked good, the talent was obvious, and it felt like a fresh start could fix everything. At this point, the whole situation has turned into a massive "we told you so" from the Manchester United fans.
Respect the ball, huddle nonsense. To sending on an instructional note in 85 minutes, your guy's getting stretched off. You might just say, listen, just you go and stay there. Hey, John, just go and stand there, right? Just play there, but the game's dead. Pour me a cup of tea.
Garnacho should be the example to follow in anything, in particular. But his first reaction when he was the one getting the note is like, now what do I do with it?
Yeah, no.
And he could not wait to just get rid of that note and just pass it around and somebody else do it.
Garnacho has been caught liking posts that criticize his managers or talking about them getting sacked, and that's not new either. He did similar things at United, liking tweets aimed at Erik ten Hag, and even posts connected to Cristiano Ronaldo criticizing the club. So again, for United fans, these actions were not surprising at all. It also highlights how differently the two clubs treated him. At United, especially under Ineos and Ruben Amorim, the focus was on cleaning up the squad. They wanted the right culture, even if it meant selling players for less than their value. Chelsea went the other way. They looked at his age, his potential, and saw a market opportunity. It was more about the long-term upside than whether he actually fits in the system or in the dressing room. United fans knew that the club had literally lowered their price just to get rid of him. That should have been the first warning sign for Chelsea.
Generally speaking, Todd, this boy cost $200 million, but today, only today, special price, just $40 million.
Instead, Chelsea went ahead with the deal, and even some of Garnacho's former teammates seem to be enjoying how the situation played out. Even players like Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes have taken subtle shots on social media, which tells you Garnacho did not leave on great terms. He himself has admitted he made mistakes at United and that his mindset wasn't right towards the end. But looking at what's happening at Chelsea, it doesn't feel like much has changed. The same reactions are still there, the same patterns, and that's why this whole story feels less like bad luck and more like a warning that Chelsea simply ignored. Now, Garnacho is not the only reason Chelsea are struggling. The issues with that club go much deeper. To see how deep, you have to watch this video right here.